Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, my name is Audrey and I post acting videos. So today we're going to talk about arguably the most important thing in the acting industry, unfortunately, headshots. You can be the most talented person in the entire world, but without an amazing headshot, it's going to be very hard for you to be discovered because everything is done with headshots, especially after COVID. Headshots were always important, but especially after COVID, everything is virtual and online, and your headshot is literally your calling card. That's the first and only thing they see, and then they decide if they want to see more or call you in for an audition. So the first thing they see is your headshot. So how can you have the absolute best headshot ever? When they look at people's headshots, they see it in a tiny little square. They see like 50 headshots at a time and they're just scrolling. So you want one that stands out because they're literally just looking at it in a little box when they're looking for who to call in to audition. I have been acting since I was 12. I've been getting headshots for about 6 years, and so I've experienced the best and the worst of headshots. I've had some horrible headshots, I've had mental breakdowns over headshots, and I've had headshots I love. So let's talk about how to have the absolute best headshots that you can possibly have. And I will say, when I got great headshots, I noticed a huge difference in the auditions that I was getting. First things first, unfortunately, it is one of those things that you just have to spend money on, and headshots can be so expensive and it's terrible, but it's pretty much unavoidable. I hate it. If you try to, skimp and go to someone who is not known for headshot photography, chances are the headshots aren't going to turn out quite right. It's a very, very specific thing that the photographer needs to know how to do. So if they don't specialize in it, usually the headshots don't turn out right. I've experienced this firsthand. If you notice, headshots are insanely crisp and just high quality on your face. They know how to edit for headshots. They know the poses to tell you to do. So if you're going to spend any money, might as well spend a little extra and make sure they're amazing and go to someone that specializes in headshot photography. Now, if you can't afford it or you have a friend that you really just want to try them first, it's on you to really research headshots and learn what to wear, what makeup to do, how to pose yourself, and then show them and kind of work with them. Because I have taken my own headshots before and they've turned out decent, but it's only because I put in a lot of work to really research how to have a great headshot. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been right. It has to be the perfect dimensions, the perfect amount of face and hair and body in it. So it is a very, very specific thing. So let's talk about hair and makeup and wardrobe. So if you're a girl, obviously you want to do your daily makeup. So however you would show up to an audition, that's how you should do your makeup. Now, me right now, this is how I do makeup for if I want to look really pretty. But for an audition, I would not wear this much makeup. I do have pretty long lashes, and that can be very distracting. I've gotten a lot of notes back from headshots where they're tone down the makeup, and all I would be wearing was concealer and mascara and then maybe a lipstick. But they were you're wearing way too much makeup, and I was okay, well, what do I not wear out of that? So I found that brown mascara works good for me because it's not as dark and jarring with the light blue eyes and fair skin. So you kind of have to play around with it. You do want to be natural, but also you want to look how you're going to look when you audition and film yourself and, show up on set. So tweak and kind of play around with your makeup routine. Definitely err on the side of natural though. They really seem to hate when someone has a lot of makeup on, so I've gotten that note one too many times. Hair-wise, I like to do some straight and some curly because I think it really changes the look that you can do. So when you sign up for headshots, you can choose 1 look, 2 looks, 3 looks, 4 looks, however many looks you want to do. And I like to do some with straight hair, some with curly hair, because I feel it kind of really changes what parts I go out for. Straight hair, I could look younger, that sort of thing. So if you're someone that does curly hair and straight hair, you might want to play around with doing both for a look. Another thing that's really important is choosing the right colors. So you want to choose colors that look good on you. I'm going to be flashing pictures of my headshots on the screen so that you guys can get an idea of what kind of colors I wear. I have blue eyes, so I like to do a blue, and then I also like to wear maybe a red because it makes me look more of a bully. If you have someone that's oh, that color looks good on you, try that color. You don't want to do light colors like a white or a pastel pink. That doesn't look good. You don't want to do anything too bright. You want to go with more like neutral colors, a plain shirt. I feel like I've seen people do tank tops and, you know, they're very successful actors, but I've always gotten the note that the less skin showing the better. So like honestly, this shirt, I don't know about like the fabric and the color, but like the amount of skin showing, and it's close up to my neck, there's nothing like shoulder wise out, and that really helps them to just focus on your face, because when you have other excess skin, it kind of like draws attention away from your face, versus when the only thing they have to look at is your face, it makes your face pop, which you'll see in my headshots. But you don't necessarily have to do that, because I have seen people do, you know, otherwise, but I've always heard the less skin showing the better, because it's less distracting. You want to kind of learn what types of parts you think you would go out for. Choose a few actors that you feel like you would love to play their parts, or you've heard you look similar to, or you have similar mannerisms to. See what parts they play, and then you want to try to emulate that in your headshots. You don't want to be like firefighter, wear a firefighter hat, you know, like that obvious, but you do want to try to play around with different types. So, you know, maybe you look like a doctor, so you'd wear something more businessy and, you know, try to look like a doctor. I don't really know how you do that, but for me, like, I can play a victim, or I really do go out for like bully or seductive roles, so I try to really emulate that in my headshot. You really just want to try to sort of, without throwing it in their face, show that you could play this sort of part, because casting directors are not that imaginative. So you kind of do want to be a little on the nose, but without being too obvious about it. So those are kind of all my tips of what you can do to have a great headshot. Now, finding a good headshot photographer can be very difficult. I have been through my fair share of headshot photographers. If you do have a sister or a friend that's also in the acting industry, usually you can do like a session together, and it'll be cheaper, because while you're shooting, you can go to your second look, and then she can shoot while, you know, I totally said that wrong. She can be shooting while you get ready for your second look, and then when you're ready, she can get ready. Whatever, you guys know what I mean. When you do a session with someone else, it brings down the price, so that's one option. Headshot photographers do travel, so if you live in a small town like me, you can be like, how am I going to travel and pay for headshots? But a lot of times, headshot photographers do travel. They might not be coming to your town, but they might be coming to like a bigger city near you, so definitely be researching that. You can find a lot of headshot photographers on Instagram. I'll link a few down below that I know personally and have shot with, and you can look into them. You can also, if you have an acting coach or an agent, reach out to them and just say like, hey, do you have any recommendations? You can also look on actors' IMDb, not usually like huge stars, but people that, you know, have been in a few things. Sometimes they'll have their headshot photographer tagged, so you can go look at that, look at their page, see how much they charge, and you'll notice a lot of times actors use the same headshot photographer over and over and over again, because you get to know them, you bond with them, you like their work, and they like you, and you know, it's great. I've had headshot photographers that I've worked with many times. So yes, that's kind of all my tips. If you guys have any questions, or if I left anything out, I'll leave it in the comments. Just let me know if you have any more questions. You can DM me on Instagram or comment down below. I try to reply to everyone. I really hope this is helpful, and I'm so proud of you guys for doing the research, because this really puts you miles ahead of everyone else, and hopefully it's going to save you money, because I've definitely had to do reshoots of headshots because of mistakes I made. But I love and appreciate you guys so much, and I can't wait to see all you do, and I'll see you next Saturday.